But we have other examples I'm going to use to prove this. So Tversky and Kahneman, when they first did their experiments on anchoring, they set up a wheel of fortune. So everyone's seen Wheel of Fortune and know how it works. You just spin the wheel and clack, 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 and it lands on a number. But the wheel in question was rigged, so it could only land on 10 or 65. Yeah? And they took the subject, the experimental subject, probably a student, sat them down and said, spin the wheel. Okay. How many African countries are in the UN? Well, obviously a spin of a wheel can't have any influence over an answer like that, because it's ridiculous. The two can't go together. Yeah, you find that, I think it's, 25% was the answer to everyone who got a 10 on average, and 45% was the answer to those that scored 65 on the Wheel of Fortune. So a completely irrelevant spin of a fixed wheel was able to sway people's answers to a question about African countries in the UN by 20%. That's pretty impressive stuff, considering the irrelevancy of that. Another example, Dan Ariely, great modern contemporary behavioral economics professor, writes some brilliant books. I'll give you one of his books later. He did a study with social security cards, social security numbers. Now, the US, everyone has a social security number card with a number on it. And what he said is, okay, I want everyone to look at the last 2 digits of that number. And I want you to write it down. And then I want you to bid on these bottles of wine. Now, none of the students knew anything about wine. None of them were wine connoisseurs, wine professionals. But the actual number that they wrote down, the social security number, massively influenced the amount they were willing to spend on a bottle of wine. They had high numbers like 99, 98, 97, 96. Dramatic increases in spend on the wine than the lower numbers, the 01s, the 02s, the 03s. Potentially, telephone numbers on websites. Telephone numbers could sway the amount people are willing to spend on a website. If you've got lots of zeros and ones, I would recommend you change your telephone number. Now, anchoring is made up of 2 component parts, contrast anchoring and assimilation anchoring. Now, assimilation anchoring is where you are pulled towards the anchor point. Yeah? Contrast anchoring is where you look at the contrast situation around it. So this is contrast anchoring. Now, does everyone think that those blue circles are the same size? Do they look the same size? Let's be honest here. The one on the right looks a lot smaller than the one on the left, doesn't it? And that is contrast anchoring. So it's the contrast of the shapes around it, put it into a context that's making the one on the right look smaller. Okay, contrast anchoring. Talked a little bit about wine already. How much do these things cost? Well, a nice bottle of Chateau Mouton Rothschild probably cost you about £1,000. It's 1992, so if you know, can be a bit more than that. That one's going to cost you about £1,000 in a restaurant. Hermes handbag, 1.9 million. Ridiculous. $140 burger looks really bloody nice, I have to say. Foie gras in the middle, all sorts of amazing stuff. But nobody realistically is going to buy those. Okay, you might have a few Russian oligarchs that are going to go out and buy it, but realistically they're not going to. So why do these exist? Well, in the case of the restaurant, this exists to set an incredibly high anchor. So when you go look at the wine list, you go to the top, you see the most expensive, and then you maybe go 1 or 2 down. So you end up spending, I don't know, £100, £150 on a bottle of wine rather than £1,000. Hermes handbag. When you walk into Hermes, you see the 1.9 million handbag as you go in, and the entrance is illuminated and floodlit. It looks beautiful. You go, don't be ridiculous. But then don't hesitate to spend £100 on a white T-shirt. And it's, yeah, people have done that, I know. In this room, people have done that. Same goes to the burger. $140 burger, nobody's going to buy that. That's stupid. But then suddenly a $30 burger looks quite reasonable. Now, if you were to go into McDonald's and they were to offer you a $30 burger, you'd walk straight out again. It's ridiculous. But because they've anchored this new burger on you, suddenly $30 looks quite reasonable. But we're all about the digital, because we're all online experts. And all, so we're going to look at online examples. Now, does everyone know Wufoo? It's an online form service, SaaS service. Now, if you look at this, there's a lot of thought gone into this. There's a lot of psychology gone into this. So firstly, we read from left to right. So the anchor is always positioned on the left-hand side, so it's the first thing you see. So the $199, so everything's in dollars today. I'm actually English. I don't know why I've taken all these American examples. 199.99 per month. Unlimited forms, unlimited reports, unlimited entries, unlimited this, unlimited that. Nobody's going to buy that. And they don't want anybody to buy that. That's just there to make everything else seem reasonable. I don't even think they want you to buy the £69.95 one because it's not in the middle. I think they want you to buy the bona fide one, which is £29.95. 5 users, you've still got unlimited forms, so it looks like a fantastic bargain, doesn't it? Interestingly enough, this is talking about anchoring, but there's other heuristics at play here. So, gratis, sign up for free, loss aversion. People are consistent. People don't like giving stuff away. So if you have someone sign up to a free trial, they've got a reward. They like that. Then when you try and take it away from them, people feel loss more than they feel gain. Yeah, which is the whole gambling thing. People don't like losing. They want to get it back again. They want to put more and more, get more wins to make up for the very small loss. This is what's going on here. You give something to someone for free for a week, a month, whatever. They're going to not want to unsubscribe. You can then charge them a month down the line, and you'll see that you'll probably get very low unsubscribe rates. I know something, was it Experian credit card check, and I did it once for a month for free, about $19.95. I'm still subscribed to that damn service. Another example, this one's even less discreet. So, this is the anchor, obviously $149 a month. They don't want to sell that. They've not even highlighted that. They've put it in the background. This is the one they want to sell. The middle one, the premium, $99 a month. $99 a month seems quite reasonable, actually, compared to the $150 a month. Yeah. I even call it the sweet spot, absolutely. This is the one we want you to buy. Now, are we really that gullible? Now, we're going to do a show of hands thing, so we're going to run through it. This is a great experiment by Puter and Hubo in 1983. And it was to Stanford University. No, it wasn't. It was Duke University students, actually. And they sat down, and it wasn't a real-life study. It was academic. It was asking questions. But it was still quite relevant. So let's pretend this is the bar. You've got 2 beers when you got there. You've got beer A, you've got beer B. Beer A, perceived quality is very high. It's a premium beer. But you get what you pay for, so it's a bit more expensive. Beer B, it's a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit lower on the scale of quality. Now, hands up, who would choose beer A and who would choose beer B? Hands up A, so. Okay. And B, who'd go for beer B? So let's be honest, it's all right. No one's going to judge you. They might judge you. I would say that's about 50-50. Now, when they did it at Duke University, they found that actually 66% chose beer A. And 33% by default chose beer B. What if we bring in a decoy? What if we bring in an anchor? What if we bring in beer C? So beer C now, perceived quality low, cost cheap. Student beer, absolutely. They probably lapped this up, didn't they? So get rid of that one. Oh, balls, went too fast. So hands up, who would now choose beer A? Who would choose beer B? Ed's got. And who would choose beer C, the cheap one? You in the corner. And you can see how actually students were very easily swayed by this by introducing a decoy, a product that no one really thought they was going to buy. 46, so it went up by 10%, just 13% actually. And that's quite interesting. That's quite a big change. But what if we introduce another beer? A super premium beer, beer D. Very high quality, very high price. Now, who would go for beer D? Hands up. 1. You again. Who would go for beer A now? That's pretty much. Some people aren't even drinking beers. It's some teetotalers in here. And who would go for beer B? 3, 4. And pretty similar. Suddenly, 90% of people went for beer A. Now, if you remember, originally, only 33% went for beer A. Then we jumped it up to 44%. Now we've jumped it up to 90% in the studies. And it's fairly similar kind of reactions going on in here. Go back from that one. Now, sitting in here when nobody's committing to actually buying a beer, it's all kind of it's a little bit hyperbole. We think this is what's going to be happening. But what if you're a major beer manufacturer? What if you're one of the biggest manufacturers in the world? And what if your beer was perceived to be the middle beer, or the kind of the more expensive in this situation, and something like Miller was the lower end beer, and you wanted to sell more of your beer, yeah? Well, we've just seen by positioning or releasing a new premium beer, suddenly you position your competitor as the low end beer, and you manage to generate huge amounts of sales for your original beer. So this is exactly what Budweiser did. Budweiser was the premium beer in America. Miller was the cheap underdog beer. Budweiser released Michelob. Michelob? Don't know how it's pronounced. Michelob, yeah. Suddenly, Budweiser sales shot up. Not many people bought Michelob. Budweiser weren't expecting a lot of people to buy Michelob. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to undercut Miller, position them as the low bottom budget brand beer. And they did that, and suddenly, imagine 90% of users jumped up from 33% who were previously buying Budweiser. So, we've seen that you guys are fairly susceptible. Beer drinkers in general are very susceptible. Am I susceptible? Because I know this stuff and I've studied it day in, day out. And the example I've got here, that is probably about 2 months ago now, because when I first gave this presentation, it was only a few weeks previous and it still stung. I was driving to Luton Airport to drop my missus off. Now, going into Luton Airport, I don't know if anyone's been there, you have 3 signposts. You have one saying, go that way for the quick drop. You've got that one for the medium stay car park, and you've got go that way for the long stay car park. But nowhere on these signposts did it tell you what a long stay was, what a short stay was, what a drop was, and I panicked. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to go for the middle option. Half hour later, it cost me £18.50 in parking. Because once you're through that barrier, you can't get out. And they know that. They knew that. And they were playing on my insecurity and lack of awareness and lack of knowledge. And boy, did I feel stupid. And I'm still smart to this day.